In 2004, I gave birth to my third child, and 5 days later, I suffered a massive heart attack. But I was sent home and I was misdiagnosed for an entire week. At the end of that week, I was rushed into emergency bypass surgery and I had a quadruple bypass. I had 5 coronary artery dissections. I dissected the widowmaker, the left main, the LAD, the circumflex, right coronary, and a diagonal. No one survives that. And I had to have a defibrillator implanted, which also paces my heart. After that procedure, I ended up in the hospital for 30 days because I got an infection. I had to have a hematoma evacuated. And then I learned that I had congestive heart failure. And my ejection fraction was only 21%. After that, after those challenges, I was released. I went home. I went through cardiac rehab. I actually did that 3 times. And on the final day, my heart was hurting and I called my doctor. I went back in the cath lab and I learned that all of my bypass grafts had shut down. I was placed in the long-term care ward of the hospital and I was told that I was gonna die. I had a 3rd grader, a preschooler, and a newborn, and that was not an option for me. And so I went into action and I began to advocate for myself. No one wanted to operate on me. And so the doctors asked me to call a family meeting and get my affairs in order. Instead, I called a friend and asked them to bring me makeup, things to do my hair, and my laptop. And instead of calling that family meeting to prepare for my death, I called a reporter to fight for my life. And I held a press conference from my hospital bed. I got myself on the front page of the weekend edition of the DC Examiner. And a few days later, the surgeons came back and said, so many people have asked me about you that I'll take another look at you. I went into surgery again. I had a repeat bypass. I had part of my heart cut off, and I had 15 laser holes drilled in my heart. After fighting for my own life, I vowed that no one else should go through that because I was misdiagnosed for an entire week. I was so excited to be a part of yesterday's symposium because part of my story revolved around health equity. The reason that I was misdiagnosed for an entire week, despite empirical evidence, was because I was not a middle-aged white guy. Because of that delay in treatment, my heart got severely damaged because time is muscle. And so that was particularly challenging. And one of the areas that I'm happy to advocate in is health equity. As an African American woman, to be recognized by one of your own for making an impact in your community is truly, truly a blessing.
We have health literacy being a major problem in terms of access to care, and then inaccessible treatment, meaning that even though something may be available, you may not be able to access it. Really, the onus is now on the patient to know what they need as opposed to say going to the doctor.
But 60 hours a month really can't be bad. So I wanted to learn what caused a heart attack, then learn how to fix it. I consider this a great blessing to see faces, and I would introduce my colleague and Adrian.
In 2008, I was asked by my girlfriend to take her to the doctor, and I told her yes, I would. She made an appointment, and lo and behold, she made an appointment for me. went to the doctor, had examination, and she came back and told me she needed me to go see a cardiologist right away. So I went to the hospital, was admitted. The next morning they told me that I had a heart attack. I didn't have any signs of anything other than my girlfriend explained to me that I looked tired, and they had to put in a pacemaker and a defibrillator. In 2021, I had my second heart attack, and I started throwing up just at the beginning of COVID. They put stents in. I was a very active person. I didn't go to the doctor if I didn't have no pains. I didn't go to the doctor. It's good to have a good friend that could tell you anything and you don't get upset, and especially when you know it's the truth. And when I tell her that she saved my life, this is not just a cliche, this is a fact. I just want to take this opportunity to thank the foundation for allowing me this platform to talk to women and men about how to take care of their body. When this opportunity came, I said, he answered prayer. I want you to use this opportunity to share how you can walk daily and you'll be on time bomb.
I'm the CEO of Women Heart and have been in the role for about 3.5 years. I was originally born in the Philippines, but have lived in many different places, most especially in California, but also have spent some time in Africa and in the UK. Before coming to Women Heart, I ran an organization called the Global Alliance for Chronic Diseases for 8 years out of London, and have had other experiences with the United Nations and with the private sector in their corporate responsibility departments. My two sisters and I lost our mother when I was 18 years old. She died very young of colon cancer. My sisters and I committed ourselves to improving the lives through working in health. And I have landed in this fantastic role where I get to tackle the biggest killer of women in the world. And my sisters have similar, really impactful roles as well. I get so much out of the work that I do that it's almost like it's not a job. It is something that I do because it fulfills me and it gives me a life's purpose. Receiving an award in recognition of my leadership skills is, first of all, truly humbling. But second of all, I think it's a celebration of the fact that I surround myself with amazing, equally passionate, equally committed people. And it also is equally, I think, deserved of the people that I work with. A motto that I live by is to put the mask on yourself before you can help others.
You're looking at someone who has survived 4 cancers by the grace of God, a stroke with right side paralysis, not paralyzed anymore. I went through therapy and the grace of God. It took about 2 years to get out the wheelchair, but I believed in God. If they had not done that echocardiogram and I had gone through with the double mastectomy surgery the next day, no one thinks I would have made it through. You're going to have to be your own advocate because these insurances don't want doctors to bill for anything. I'm going to be 100 with you. So the alteplase, again, is supposed to break up the blood clot. And it was about 15 minutes before the medicine was supposed to be reflushed. But the nurse, I assumed she knew what she was talking about. And I didn't realize that 15 minutes could mean the difference between me living and having this stroke. So I want you to know, I love my healthcare team. I love nurses, doctors, everyone, but we're all human and there's human error in medicine. If you know that your medication is supposed to run 30 minutes, My sister and my brother, let it run the 30 minutes. Even if you have to speak up, ask for a charge nurse or a doctor, because ultimately a small mistake for a nurse can be debilitation for the rest of your life. I suffered the stroke. My speech was slurred. I couldn't feel a thing on the right side. When you go through something that debilitating, your faith in God is very important. But more importantly, I had to believe beyond what they told me. They told me I was being overly ambitious to think I could walk again. I appreciated being in the wheelchair. I was grateful for being alive, but I wanted to get back in the classroom. I wanted my life back. And so I had to pretend every day when I couldn't feel and couldn't write that I could see myself in the classroom teaching again. I could see myself speaking and advocating again. I could see myself preaching in the pulpit again. You need to advocate. And if you're too sick to advocate, have a relative who can speak up for mom, dad, sister, brother, or a friend if you don't have relatives nearby. Don't think you're being rude to asking questions. My ministry is named Nobody But God Ministries. And it's because nobody but God gets you through whatever you're going through.
I am the founder and executive director of the Women's Wellness Lounge. As a registered nurse, it has always been my primary objective to provide more preventive health services rather than reactive and sick care treatment. I always enjoy sharing this heartfelt story about why I became a nurse. Imagining waking up and seeing someone put on a white uniform, capped off with a nursing hat and white polished shoes. Well, that was my mother. She was a nurse, and because seeing her not only get dressed with care and precision each and every morning, how she felt when she ended her day also gave me that I want to care and feel what she's feeling. And by the time I was 17, I was walking across the stage as a licensed practical nurse, and a giver for the community has served me for the last 2 decades. And I look forward to continuing that, because when you think of excellence in leadership, you just want your name to be attached to those type of paramount words and that type of leadership style and that skill set as well.
Hi, I recently retired from the University of Maryland, Capital Region Health, as the Corporate Vice President for Clinical Support Services. I grew up in inner city Los Angeles, South Central Compton area, and when I looked around, there were very few Black professionals, namely women professionals, to serve community that was largely Black. I then came to do training at the Howard University College of Pharmacy and Hospital. As a pharmacy resident, the governor mandated that we open a hospital specifically to care for COVID patients. And I was part of the leadership team of Capital Region Health that opened a hospital in 4 weeks. Opening a hospital is no small feat. I've been able to lead pharmacists, respiratory therapists. I've been able to lead imaging professionals to provide a high level of care for a community that has been underserved. There have been so many disparities among the Black community in terms of their access to health care. So my leadership has been punctuated over the years of really trying to ensure that I position myself in a place where I could ensure that patients got the very best care.
I was awakened. The Lord or my angel, a voice said to me, "Get up, you're having a heart attack." So I got up and got in the shower, got dressed. Then I came and alerted my husband to take me to the hospital. When we got to the hospital at Fort Meade, there was a doctor standing outdoors, and he said, "Hold on just a moment, I get a wheelchair. I can see you're having a heart attack." I've had 4 heart attacks since the initial one. The treatment that they gave me was to insert 3 stents in my upper body, adhere to the medicine, to take it on time, take it religiously, and keep myself hydrated. Then the walking, the doctor said that was the best thing that I could do, was to continue walking. At the age of 85, I started water aerobics because arthritis had set in both my knees, and it was very beneficial. My motivative factor was that if I wanted the Lord to help heal me, I had to do all that I humanly could do to fulfill my part. And my husband was ill, and I wanted to be able to help him. So I had to get myself in order. I can truly say that the Lord heard my prayers because I asked him to help me. I asked him to heal me because he says that he is our healer.
I wanted to come on and give you a summary or to recap this fabulous 2-day event, starting with on Friday, February 17th, Health Equity Now, a symposium on closing the gap. It was a phenomenal event with some great leaders and speakers in the field. But I want to talk particularly about one person. Actually, it was 2 or 3 that came down and happened to be going by and wanted to know what was going on. And we told them about the health symposium we were having. And they just happened to be from the cath lab. The cath lab is where they conduct cardiac catheterizations. And that is when they inject dye in your system to see if there's any blockage anywhere. Well, I had a cardiac catheterization, and so did my colleague, the moderator for the event, Rhonda Monroe. We appreciated their visit so much, and let me tell you, they appreciated us. They cried because they said, we never get to see the faces. We never get to see you guys on the other side. Their work is so important. They see us when we are unconscious. They see us when we are nearly dead. And they conduct the cardiac catheterizations, but they never get to see the outcome of their work. So they cried, and we cried with them to be able to see us and to embrace us. And although they may not have been the ones to conduct the cardiac catheterization on us, they represented the ones that did to both Rhonda and I. That's what it was all about. One of the things one of the technicians said to me was, tell them about the misdiagnosis. Are you telling them about the misdiagnosis? I said, yes, we are. I want you to know how real that is. because a lot of times there's a lot of misdiagnosis until they get to the cath lab. The catheterization tells the real story. One of the quotes that Dr. Underwood gave in his presentation was a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King, which says, "Of all of the forms of inequality, injustice in healthcare is the most shocking and inhumane." And that's what this event was all about, to address not only the inequalities in the healthcare system, but we came up with action items. We talked about historical injustices, social determinants of health, and healthcare access. So if you weren't there, join along with us in our advocacy efforts through our website, openmyheartfoundation.org, or info@openmyheartfoundation.org. And let me tell you, we had a phenomenal event honoring the heart and stroke survivors, as you saw in the presentation. So get in touch with us, reach out to us. We want to hear from you, how we can make this program better, and we want you to join along with us in our efforts. We received a lot of positive feedback. One of the feedbacks was that people wanted to know a way to give. So here it is. I've outlined ways to give through our QR code and through our website. So please take advantage of those opportunities. We are still very much in fundraiser mode. So please help us reach our goals. And we thank you again for coming, and we look forward to hearing from you. God bless.